river that has given life and prosperity for thousands of years is now on the verge of extinction. If it seems to you that the fall of the Euphrates concerns only the countries of the Middle East, you are deeply mistaken. We will also experience the consequences of this catastrophe, but what actually leads to the drying up of the once full-flowing river, and what role does the Bible play in Thisbe? Sure to watch the video to the end to find out the answers to these questions. Enjoy watching. Our journey begins with a mysterious story that unfolds along the banks of the Euphrates, an ancient river that fed civilizations in Western Asia. This river was once a source of life and prosperity, today finds itself at the center of events that echo ancient prophecies about the end of time and the appearance of the Antichrist. Imagine immersion in the secrets hidden for centuries under the waves of the Euphrates, when its once mighty waters rapidly retreat, revealing ancient secrets. This is not just a historical episode. This is reality which we observe today. For 1,000 years, the Euphrates was a lifeline, giving life to the lands of Turkey, Syria, and Iraq, providing water to more than 60,000 people. The main tributary of the river comes from the eastern Turkish mountains, where the snow melts in spring and summer. The water rushing down turns into powerful streams, flooding the surrounding lands. This annual flood became the basis for the life of people who for thousands of years depended on the generosity of the river. They learned to predict its floods and use them for their own benefit, considering the flood a gift of nature. However, recent research by the University of Arizona revealed an alarming trend. The volume of the river has decreased by more than 60%. What is behind this mysterious phenomenon? Iraq is one of the countries by territory and through which the Euphrates flows, especially acutely feels the lack of water. People since ancient times understood the value this river and built thoughtful and recreational systems, turning deserts into fertile lands. These systems fed great empires that disappeared, leaving behind only majestic ruins, still captivating our imagination. Time goes by, everything changes, and Iraq's relations with the Euphrates, as well as with the surrounding world, continue to transform. After the Second World War, the problem of water shortage became especially acute. The rapidly growing population increased the demand for water, which was needed for drinking, agriculture, and industry. In the 60s of the last century, Iraq began to consume record volumes of water, over 16,000 cubic meters annually. This is equivalent to a swimming pool the size of a football stadium and 2 meters deep, which was emptied daily. Thus, in a year, Iraq used almost half of the water of the Euphrates. The country could satisfy its needs only at the expense of the river. However, excessive consumption did not pass without a trace. Natural riverbed. The Euphrates was thinning, disrupting the ecosystem, and the river lost its ability to support the local environment. As a result, wildlife began to die out, and cancer faced a critical task: how to meet the growing demand for water without destroying the environment. This dilemma pushed scientists, engineers, and politicians to search for innovative solutions aimed at rational use of water and improving the solution system. Already in the mid-60s, Syria and Turkey began building powerful dams such as the Slipper Dam in Syria and the Keban Dam in Turkey. Even if these projects are fully implemented, forecasts say that by the end of the century, the demand for water will exceed the volumes that the Euphrates can provide. This river, being the cradle of civilization and the source of life in the region, continues to play an important role, providing people with water and supporting trade routes. The Euphrates, carrying its waters for millennia today, faces the modern world, where man accelerates the pace of life, destroying fresh water reserves. Water, The journey of this great river is not limited to Iraq. It continues, connecting with another ancient stream. The Tigris, this union known as the Shuttle Arab, combines the power of two great rivers until they flow into the Persian Gulf, completing their epic journey. Over the centuries, the waters of this river have traveled 1,000 miles, bending around mountains and creating majestic landscape. Once, in the Basra region, the river flowed into many branches, turning the area into a magical space. Known as the marsh, these were not marshes in the usual sense of the word, but real oases giving life to a unique community known as the Marsh Arabs. They lived in complete harmony with the surrounding nature, using the bounty of the marshes for their daily lives. However, in the 90s, everything changed. The dictatorial regime of Saddam Hussein made a fateful decision to drain the marsh in an effort to suppress the Marsh Arab rebellion. When the waters receded, the once fertile lands turned into scorched desert. It seemed like a disaster that could not be fixed. But with the US invasion in 2003, a new era began. The new administration realized the importance of the swamps not only as a unique ecosystem, but also as a cultural heritage. The decision to drain the swamps was cancelled and large-scale work began to restore them. However, returning the swamps to their former glory turned out to be a difficult task. The Euphrates had become very shallow, and only flat-bottomed boats could risk setting out on a journey along its waters. These boats are capable of moving even on the shallowest areas, but their capabilities are limited. They cannot go further than the city of Hitlerkated at an altitude of 53 meters above sea level, which became an insurmountable obstacle to shipping. The journey to the swamps is a long and difficult journey upstream, about 2.0 kilometers long, by the way. An interesting fact: the Euphrates River is mentioned in the Bible and is associated with ancient prophecies. In the book in Genesis, it is named among the 4 rivers flowing from Eden, was designated as the border of the promised land which God promised to Abraham and his descendants. And in the book of the prophet Jeremiah, there are even more mysterious prophecies. He predicted that the waters of Babylon will play a fateful role in future events, according to ancient prophecies. Such great rivers as the Euphrates will one day dry up, which will be the result of human worship of idols. And in our time, we really see how the water level in the Euphrates and Tigris rivers is noticeably falling, which makes one wonder, is this ancient prophecy being fulfilled now? This event, according to many people, really echoes biblical predictions. The book of Revelations describes the condemnation of the great river as a sign of the approaching end of times. As Jesus said in the Gospel of Matthew, "Be prepared, for the Son of Man will come at an hour when you least expect it." And one more riddle: mysterious cave discovered off the banks of the Euphrates gives rise to many theories. Consider it the remains of an ancient civilization. Others believe that the cave leads to the place of imprisonment of 4 angels, which are spoken of in Revelations. According to biblical prophecy, the release of these angels will be the beginning of apocalyptic events, when the 6th angel blows the trumpet and the order is given to release them from the mustache in the great Euphrates River. However, this is only a small part of the predictions associated with the Euphrates. After all, this river has a special significance in the Islamic religion. In the Quran and the Hadiths of the Prophet Muhammad, it is mentioned that this river is connected with a heavenly source, and the most important events will take place around it, including the predicted Battle of Armageddon, final conflict marking the end times. One of the Hadiths talks about a mountain of pure gold hidden in the depths of the Euphrates, which, according to prophecy, will one day appear to the world. But the Prophet Muhammad warned that its appearance will lead to the manifestation of human greed. Only 1 person out of 100 will be able to resist the temptation to possess this wealth. This prediction is considered reliable since it is included in the collection of hadiths of Imam Muslim. These prophecies serve as an important reminder of how important it is to preserve spiritual values and resist material temptations, especially in times of trial. No matter how terrible a drought is, sometimes it brings unexpected discoveries, so the recent drying up of the Euphrates revealed previously unknown archaeological finds to the world. According to the director of the Department of Antiquities of Anbar, province ancient monuments were discovered, which until now were hidden under water. More than 75 structures, as if opened from another world, turned this area of Iraq into one of the most significant archaeological sites in the region. Discoveries made during excavations opened a window into the past and allowed us to look into the worlds that existed here more than 3,000 years. BC great civilizations left their traces. Here, Sumerians and Romans famous for their cultural heritage and greatness. But this is only part of the story. Among the inhabitants of these places, there were also ancient Jewish communities, each of which could tell its own unique story. Drought gave researchers a chance to reach previously inaccessible place, hidden under the waterzone of these discoveries was a hill decorated with pre-Christian gravestones, which seemed to be engraved on the surface of the earth, creating a feeling as if you are in a time capsule where ancient history comes to life. Also in 2022, an event occurred that amazed the whole world. Waters of the lake held by a dam on Euphrates in eastern Syria began to retreat rapidly, revealing a secret. Beneath them, hidden for centuries, it was as if the river itself had decided to reveal a secret that had been kept since time immemorial. Local residents were stunned by the unusual sight, and news of this event quickly spread. Archaeologists soon arrived at the scene full of enthusiasm and ready for amazing discoveries, with each layer of dust and earth, ancient artifacts, and human remains that painted a living picture of long-forgotten era. Among the objects found were burials of great historical significance. Archaeologists and historians, as if they had heard silent stories about the rituals and beliefs of antiquity. A detailed study of the skeletons allowed scientists to learn about the physical condition, health, and even food preferences of these people, giving us an idea of how long humanity has existed and how much water has flown under the bridge since then, and of the figures personifying greatness, ancient times. There was the legendary Sumerian king Gilgamesh, who has gone down in history as a powerful ruler, whose deeds and exploits were celebrated in myths. His name still evokes associations with heroism and adventure. Stories of his epic quest have transcended the barriers of time. Gilgamesh personified courage, readiness for dangerous adventures, and a thirst for achievement, which makes him one of the most significant figures in the history of the ancient world. The search for immortality and wisdom was the main goal of Gilgamesh, who dared to challenge the gods themselves. His reign marked an important period in the ancient history, Mesopotamia region, where among the rivers and fertile plains, an empire flourished, became the cradle of civilization's Sumerian achievements in written culture, agriculture, and governance laid the foundations for subsequent societies. Gilgamesh, who ruled in this vibrant landscape, showed outstanding leadership qualities and wisdom, maintaining the unity of the Sumerian civilization. This ruler personified the spirit of human purity and the pursuit of knowledge. His exploits have been preserved in one of the most ancient works of literature, confirming that such heroic epics were part of cultural heritage. However, a recent event on the banks of the Euphrates River has exposed an amazing landscape. A colossal sculpture of a head appeared at the bottom of the river, which seemed to be breaking out of the past. Was decorated with intricate carvings. People were amazed by the grandeur of this spectacle, A face imprinted for 1,000 years, it seemed to carry ancient wisdom, secrets, or even incredible benefits. Perhaps it was in this stone head hides the key to lost knowledge, which has attracted the attention of scientists and archaeologists striving to unravel its mystery. On the banks of the Tiger lies the ancient city of Nineveh, once the mighty capital of the Ossetian Empire, Imagine majestic palaces reaching to the heavens temples with towers and terraces and vast libraries filled with ancient knowledge, these remnants of a long-gone era, when great rulers and beautiful queens ruled, where respected merchants and talented artisans flourished, reveal the wealth of ancient history. Go further down the Tiger and you will find Tel Bracon's a bustling metropolis of the early dynastic period Mesopotamia. In its ruins are buried forgotten civilizations, who invented the earliest forms of writing, leaving messages in engraved clay tablets, first technologies of human communication. Complex agricultural system created by these ancient societies also reveal their secrets to the murder of the agent of the Camarena and any connections with the drug mafia in recent years. Artifacts discovered here reveal how ancient people developed the land. However, the river Tigris holds even more secrets. Its valleys are full of architectural ensembles that amaze with their grandeur, remains of the Sumerian, Akkadic, and Babylonian civilizations. Include majestic ziggurats, multi-layered religious buildings, which were considered the dwelling of the gods and interrupted the horizon. Complex tombs and palaces allow us to look into the daily life of the people who inhabited these lands. 1. Ugrozo 0 years ago, Alice. These ancient monuments, exposed from under the water, become vulnerable and can be destroyed under the influence of wind and dry climate. We risk forever losing masterful carvings, intricate details, and precious artifacts. Dedicated archaeologists work hard to reveal these treasures. They understand that the ancient artifacts not only bear evidence of the past, but also help preserve our cultural heritage. Find out who we are and where we came from. The drying up of the Euphrates is a key moment in our history. We must do everything possible to avoid such serious environmental problems in the future.